Yeah, the lighting over here is pretty good, but we all know that I can't just do the vlog in front of this mirror as much as I want to. So before I kick off, I don't know why I make these things sound like a meeting. It's not a company meeting. Okay, before we get into this week's vlog, I want to provide you with a cute and a quick little life update. So I did a thing, I really did. I moved countries. And that's how we're gonna start this vlog. So in case you can't tell, I'm in hotel quarantine. And I figured what better way to pass time than to make a YouTube video. This is gonna be a different one though. I thought about this and I was like, what can I create and put together that is different to the other quarantine videos? And I thought about it. I did a bit of research, thought about it some more, and I decided that I wanted to talk about, or rather impart my wisdom on a couple of tips or a couple of things that I did that helped keep me sane during my time in quarantine. If you are curious and still want a bit of background as to what hotel quarantine is, I'll just give you like a quick little summary, like, you know, the footnotes version of the entire thing. Basically what's happened during the zombie apocalypse, you know, I'm talking, the zombie apocalypse is basically just taking over our lives and has been for the past year plus and counting. What Australia is doing is it's allowing its citizens in, but it's allowing its citizens in under certain terms and conditions. People are able to get back, but they, in a lot of instances, get their flights canceled or get them rescheduled, and some of them, they've been trying to get back for months. And when they do get back, all Australians and all citizens are required to, under law, quarantine for 14 days in a hotel. That's not of their choice, so they don't get a say in it. You just get thrown in it. And you know what the best part is? You can wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah, I really need it. You gotta pay for it yourself. So not only are you paying for a ridiculously expensive flight here, you are also paying for quarantine. The cost of quarantine, you may ask, is close to 3K, if not more, depending on where you're staying and your condition. I have read interesting, I don't want to say horror stories, but just stories about people who paid extra to get like a balcony, to upgrade to a balcony, and that's cost them just above like 3K, like maybe 3,000, I don't know, like under 4K for sure, but it's still, you know, a little high. It's a little bit on the high end. So there have been people who've been able to do that. I did not. I just kind of came here and I was like, look, like this is it. It's 2 weeks, suck it up and just get through it and you'll be fine. And I am somewhat okay. Somewhat still sane. Literally, as I'm recording this right now, it is an hour before my departure, so I would say that I'm in a pretty decent position to give you guys a couple of tips on how to stay sane. So let's get right into it, shall we? So point number one, talk to family and friends. Look, hotel quarantine may or may not be the thing that you want the most, but one of the ways that you can stay sane is just like talk to people, and it doesn't have to be physical. It can literally be over FaceTime. I can't tell you the amount of times I have literally contacted my friends over the past couple of days and just kind of, you know, be like, oh, you're cooking? Oh, just keep me, you know, just put me on the counter real quick. Like I just want to, you know, watch you. And they're just gonna be like, all right, weirdo, sure, here, have at it. But they've been super kind with it and they've been super tolerant. I've really enjoyed that. I feel as though you know, I've been blessed enough to have good friends and family, or close friends and family, so I really milk that. I leverage the crap out of the crappy Wi-Fi and the slow internet speed that comes with moving back to Australia, and made sure I absolutely bug the crap out of them. And that was one way I actually sort of was able to remind myself that, you know, I do have a support system, even if it feels like I don't. And that was really, really helpful. The second thing that I found that was really, really effective, say really one more time, Sana. Okay. The second thing that I found that was really helpful was, and this just depends like person to person, but I am a book nerd. I'm a huge book nerd. I can, you know, like wake up in the morning and the first thing I'll do is grab a cup of coffee, obviously drink some water, but grab a cup of coffee and just read. Like I will read for, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes or so on a good day, and like just forget about everything else that's been going on. I actually have a couple of books that I could recommend if you like, but I am such a big nerd that I actually bought a couple of books back from DC with me. And I know you can buy them, but I just had a lot of memories to attach with those books, and they're packed in my luggage right now because I'm about to leave in less than an hour and I don't want to remove them. But I do have 2 books that I've kept out just to kind of, you know, show you, or make sure, like, you know, give you some feedback and like provide you with a couple of options to, you know, buy and read if you're in hotel quarantine. Would definitely recommend Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Again, none of this is sponsored, not that that matters, but Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty has been an amazing, like, eye-opening book. He just sort of dives into how to handle like everyday life, but through the perspective and the teachings of like a monk, which is really refreshing because I'm not really known to be very patient and calm. I'm trying, but it's not my strong suit. So I would definitely recommend that. Thinking Fast and Slow, don't know if you can see that. This is also another good one. I unfortunately haven't read much of it, but from what I can tell, it is amazing. This author really sort of dives into like biases, choices, you know, the illusion of understanding, just kind of like how the mind works, but he tells it in the form of a story, so it's not boring. It is very, very interesting. I've had a couple of recommendations on this. I'm going to probably finish this before like June for sure, so I will let you know if it's any good. I might like leave a comment or 2 if you're interested, just to give you an update on the book. So that's one thing that you can do. I read a lot, but that's just me. I love the fact that I can escape into books, into stories, and just let time kind of, I don't know, just pass really. That was one thing that I did. So those 2 are super basic, okay? Like we know that. You're like, Sana, like we know this. Of course we know this. Like give us something that's more valuable. I agree. But I wanted to start off with the basics. Point number 3, use this time to evaluate or reevaluate your goals. What you're gonna notice, or at least what I noticed, it's gonna be different person to person, but for me, I noticed that obviously since I shifted countries and shifted cities, my goals were very different now. Who I was before I left, who I was while I was there, who I am literally right now is so different. I needed to kind of sit down and be completely honest with myself, and being in a confined, well, closed space kind of encourages that automatically if you let it. It sort of encourages a sense of vulnerability with yourself, and the best part is because you're kind of in here by yourself, you're able to do that without any judgment. I wrote down, like, you know, what the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months are gonna look like for me, you know, what I wanted to do in my spare time, what I wanted to develop, and what I wanted to achieve before the end of the year. And it was really daunting. Like when I started to do that, I automatically started to reflect, and reflect on the fact that this is actually happening, and the fact that I'd actually moved countries. And it was a tough pill to swallow because, you know, before moving here, I was just so caught up in the hustle and like movement and the rush of everything. Like you're packing, you're working, you're, you know, trying to make sure you've met all the flight requirements or what have you for COVID, and like somewhere in there you forget to acknowledge the fact that, you know, this is a season of your life that's changing now. Like you're gonna be leaving it behind, and you're going to be traveling to a new country that's going to be very different to the home city or the home country that you remembered it as. You know, people are going to be different, people would have moved on, people have achieved different milestones in their lives, and somewhere along the line you have to kind of reflect on that and make your peace with it, because that's something that you don't really get if you come back and you're just kind of thrown back into society. Number 4. So, number 4, I would recommend, oh my god. And number 5, so the last point, I would recommend you kind of have some fun with this quarantine and treat it like a staycation. I mean, you're paying up to $3,000 for it anyway, you might as well have some fun with it. In my mind, when I landed, I decided to sort of change my perception on how I was going to approach this and how I was going to view my time in quarantine. And I was like, look, like I'm going to be here a while, I might as well have fun with it. So I, you know, not every other night, but definitely like once or twice every couple of days or so, ordered like Uber Eats, really sort of treated myself to a little something. I had friends who, bless their hearts, were really nice and sent me like desserts, you know, from different restaurants across Australia, but across Sydney, and I definitely inhaled those desserts. So if you're watching this, thank you. But I just, you know, like I'd spend time walking around in my towel, like literally 8 hours out of, like 12 hours out of 24. Like I'd be walking around, I'd, you know, blast music, you know, I luckily had a watercolor kit with me, so I did a bit of painting, but I really treated this as like a staycation. Like I was like, well, I'm not home now, I'm just gonna enjoy this time by myself, you know. And apart from Netflix, I did whatever the hell I wanted to do, and it was amazing. You know, if I wanted to shower at 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. and then lie in bed and binge watch, like, you know, Grace and Frankie, I could do it, and there was no one to judge me. It was fantastic. So I would just recommend like changing your perception on this and treating it like a fun staycation. It will definitely make time pass faster, and you will learn to enjoy yourself more, and it'll be easier. But that's all I had. I hope it was helpful. I hope it provided you with some, you know, I hope it was helpful. I hope the advice actually like helps if you do decide to move back, or you're in the process of moving back and you're nervous about, you know, how things are going to be in quarantine and what you're going to do. I want to let you know that it is actually a lot of fun if you let it. I enjoyed my time here. I think it was a really good way to kind of unwind before being thrown out into the world, which is kind of what's going to happen in like less than an hour for me. So I hope this helped, and I will see you next time.